He's up late to give you the news you can't get anywhere else early. He fights for truth and justice and the American way. Please welcome our pal from the Paragon Trust Company, the real Tony D. Tony D'Angelo.
All right, so every Tuesday at the same time, we bring on one of our great friends, Tony D'Angelo. Find him on X, Tony D'Angelo 7. Follow his YouTube page. Always a lot of great stuff. And yes, he's now on Talk Red Media, along with yours truly. Tony, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Elci. Good morning, everyone. I'm proud to be among you.
All right, so I think the topic at hand is one that we've talked, at least I've talked a lot about. You're going to, again, echo it. I think, do the Republicans actually really want to win? Is that where we're starting?
Yes. Do you have the audio that I sent over of the, well, I can tell you about it if.
Oh, okay. Rosa,
the budget.
You're talking about Rosa DeLauro and that
Yes.
audio? Okay, yes, I do have it.
Can you play that, please?
The budget proposal reads like a climate change denier's manifesto. When climate change is flooding our streets, poisoning our air, driving up health care and disaster costs, how can the EPA justify abandoning that duty to protect Americans to appease polluters under the false flag of economic growth?
Following the law, Section 202 of the Clean Air Act, where does it say anything about fighting global climate change? Loper Bright, Supreme Court case, you familiar with it?
No, I maybe others are. I'm not, but let me ask.
But that's really important. As a member of Congress, Loper Bright says that we, as an agency, don't have the authority to get creative. If Section 202 of the Clean Air Act...
No, but you don't have, excuse me, you do not have the right to say climate change does not exist, that it's a hoax, and that's where this administration is coming from.
I understand you're upset that you don't know what Loper Bright is. Do you know what the major policies doctrine is?
I'm upset because...
You know what the major policies doctrine is?
You know what, let me just
You're a member of Congress. You should know.
Well, you have moved from someone who defended the environment to all of us.
Is that the end, Tony?
Yes,
okay.
That would be fine. Now, the reason why I had asked for you to play that is because we showed that on Talk Red Media. We showed that on the a couple of the other promos, and basically what you were watching there was the hearing of the Appropriations Committee on April 27th with respect to Lee Zeldin and Rosa DeLauro. And we were watching essentially there a person in Congress who had no idea of the law whatsoever. And basically it was where she asks him, where he asked her, do you know about Loper Bright decision? No idea. Do you know about the major questions done? No idea. And basically she is the ranking member of appropriations. And the thing is, basically, when you look at this thing of, I don't have to listen to this. I don't have to listen to Supreme Court decisions. You're denying climate change, and he's there. And it's like, well, climate change is not in my scope because of Loper Bright, basically. At one point, not on that particular audio, but he was told by her to drink weed killer. And it was like watching her melt down. It was almost hysterical for me because she reminded me so much of her mother, who was a clerk in the New Haven probate court, where I used to go about once or twice a week. And same mannerisms, same inflections, same hostility. And I'm just, I guess we fight turning into our parents, but this was like a gross example. And the thing is, when this whole thing went on, I was counting the views of it last night, and X tells me 35 million people have seen this throughout. The people on Talk Red, I want you to see it if you haven't seen it before. Lee Zeldin had it. I think his views were 11 million. And I'm just saying to myself, well, what is Connecticut saying about this? Well, I checked yesterday. There is not one Connecticut media outlet that had any commentary about this whatsoever. A couple of print references here and there. Now, the Republican Party, you would think that other than quote unquote, Rosa being a, train wreck or whatever you want to call her. Not a word. Not a word. Nothing with a press release. I mean, nothing whatsoever. And I'm saying to myself, it's like, it's not so much Rosa being Rosa, but it's like we have a major policy failure with an elected representative in Connecticut. And nobody seems to give a care whatsoever. And where this gets bigger, Elci, and where this gets more, I mean, it's actually kind of twofold. I mean, they pay strategists ostensibly. It's like, what do you pay them to do? Lose, frankly? I mean, because there is a young man running against her. I mean, he's seems like a nice young man. I've chatted with him on several occasions. I don't know much about him. And I mean, it's basically, I think, as far as I'm concerned, give the kid a shot. But what people don't get when you see something like this, it doesn't make the state media. There's no effort to, quote unquote, get rid of somebody who could be detrimental. She will be. Now, we talk about the House races in either way, and, Trump has got to get on the stick, because if he doesn't get on the stick, he's going to lose one. Or we talk about that all the time. If the House turns Democrat, and let's just say it happens by 1 or 2 votes, this bat is chair of appropriations. Think about that, right? No effort to even say a word about her. What does that mean? Well, it means that there's going to be, no funding for ICE, no Homeland security funding. There's going to be funding for sanctuary cities. Oh, she's going to part with the money. I mean, it's like Lenny Fasano told us for years that it's good to have Rosa on appropriations because she does pass along the money, honey. And the thing is, it's like, where am I the only person seeing this? It's like, why do we allow these things to happen? We walk around saying, this is terrible. Oh, how can here's a golden opportunity to, quote unquote, to advance something good and decent and in the place of something that doesn't work at all. And this could have national implications. And I wanted the folks on Talk Red to see it. I wanted the folks in Connecticut, if you're driving in the car, if you haven't, watch my 30 with Tony, and you haven't seen it, you need to know this, because this is really serious stuff. And it's like, I'm glad. Thank you, Elci, for the opportunity to have this aired to the masses, so to speak.
Another example, too, Tony, of somebody who's pretending that they know what it is that they're talking about, when the fact is, here you are having this conversation about real serious issues, and really, Rosa had no idea what Lee Zeldin was actually talking about, and had no idea about the Billy or the what he was trying to get across. It's unconscionable that this woman is so powerful in the halls of Congress and doesn't know this information.
Well, and it's equally unconscionable to me, okay? I might be the only person in the world, but it's equally unconscionable to me not to, quote unquote, call attention to this statewide. It's like, going to have an election? Win the damn election. Do something. And I mean, this person, everybody knows the laughingstock that Connecticut is, basically. And this is, a prime example, but it's like, I'm tired, and listen, saying to the folks on Talk Red, we're not all like this in Connecticut. I have these discussions on Twitter. They think the whole state has gone crazy. No, this is like, these are the kinds of things that get good and decent people very angry, especially when they're just so obvious and so blatant. And this is just so sad.
In the grand scheme of things, Tony, do you think this hurts her even a little bit in the 2026 election?
No.
Neither.
And I'll tell you why, because there's not a strong enough effort to get rid of her, frankly. And there's, to her people, she, quote unquote, is Saint Rosa. She is, our girl fighting for the virtues of, equality for all. I mean, I used to, when I was at the bank, now I was at the bank 8 years in New Haven, and basically we had, bank clients, and you had the old Italian people down on Worcester Square, and you could not tell them that Rosa was a radical, that she was a late term of, oh, no, not my Rosa in St. Michael's Church. And those people, most of them have left us, but it's like, it comes down to like the simplest issue in life. Why do you have something? You have something in many cases because you refuse to remove it. And I think to her people, she's a money machine. That's basically it. But I mean, how much money do you want to see wasted on, garbage? If she gets in appropriations, basically, and she's the chair of appropriations, you could say goodbye to anything, positively that the Trump agenda might have done. That's how close this is. And there's not a mention of it anywhere. Grateful to you, grateful for Talk Red, because people need to know this, basically.
Tony D'Angelo is with us. Tony D'Angelo 7 on the X, of course, also on Talk Red, also on his own YouTube page. And, Rose is 83. And I'm not saying that there's necessarily needs to be age discrimination, but at what point in time do we really start to look at the age of some of these politicians, Tony?
They never did it, Elci. I mean, when I used to see Strom Thurmond carried up to sign at the desk, and he was carried up in a stretcher. I mean, it's this is like the one of Congress's worst secrets. It's insider trading. It's like, yeah, you come here to insider, but we don't insider trade. And it's like, no, there's never been any sort of shall we say, anti-fossilization rule. This has been the way of doing business since time immemorial.
All right.
No pun intended.
I know. Tony D'Angelo. All right, what do you got next? What else?
Okay. We were talking on the weekend, and we were talking about we have another corporate departure in Connecticut. There's going to be more, from what I understand. I cannot say specifically what they are because I've been told not to. But basically, we had, Duracell is getting out. Now, this, of course, is a litany between, Frontier has left us, Lego has left us, CVS, Aetna. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. And the thing that I find amazing is when I see this, shall I say, exodus. And I said on Saturday night, no one either, my estimation, no one either running or no one in government either seems to give a care or have a clue as to how to stop this. Now, there are people who, quote unquote, can tell you what to do in order to stop this. I can tell you, Swick can tell you, a couple of the others. But basically, when you see this thing and when you see this exodus going on and on and on, what are you replacing it with? The pizza trail or quantum CT. I mean, quantum CT, quantum computing in Connecticut hasn't made a buck, frankly. Just basically it's funded with tax dollars, or Connecticut Innovations, or whatever the case may be. And I'm just saying to myself, how do you change that? I'm not hearing anybody talk about what do we need to do to stop the corporate exodus. But, it's like I was looking last night. We've talked about qualified opportunity zones in this show. And the qualified opportunity zone, now that's something it was around in 2017. It's been enhanced now with OBBBA. And there's 61 new zones that Connecticut can declare, which basically are economic gold mines for somebody wanting to come in and make an investment and do something. It's all on them. Everything they do is on them. Doesn't take any public money whatsoever. And you've got to start declaring. Other states have started to aggressively declare this. We haven't done a blessed thing about this. We probably won't, frankly, because it has the name Trump attached to it. I mean, Norwich, we've talked about, there is a big opportunity zone there. I mean, you talk about, Rocky comes on Saturday, talks about taxation. I mean, this would reduce taxes dramatically, but, you never hear anything about that. And when you look at some of the other stuff that, we're seeing there's proposals that are made, but they're made very safely. Like I've been reading this thing about the scholarship credit, and there's a representative, Tina Corpus, saying that this is a no-brainer for Governor Ned Lamont to do, just to put these schools online where we can have scholarship deductions for kids. And it's like, well, okay, I mean, that's good, but, does anybody talk about the Trump accounts? I'm sorry, it's named the Trump account. But there's a guy named Newt Gingrich, not Tony D'Angelo. Maybe Newt Gingrich and Tony D'Angelo are probably the only two people that talk about this. But he said this is the best economic development device for kids ever in the history of the United States of America. I mean, it's an absolute, but you never hear any mention of that. And I sit there and I say, why? Why do we constantly in the state have to, things that could be good, they're either kept from us, the media is not talking about them, the political parties aren't talking about them. I do my best. And then when you start to look at, quote unquote, the budget, and things that were there in the legislature, I don't cheer when I see the legislation that's being passed. One thing I do want to mention in the general budget, and these are the sort of things that absolutely, again, people need to know about them. Personally drives me nuts. There is a 10% corporate business tax surcharge through 2028. And whatever the federal breaks are, well, the state just walked in and said, hey, gimme. And it's when I see Betsy McCoy campaigning on an individual income tax cut, well, hey, there it went. Anybody wanting to come in and do business looking at that mess saying, I ain't going anywhere near that place. So long it's been good to see you. So long it's been good to know you. And it's like, there's stuff like that absolutely is. When you get back to how business is lost and corporations don't go, where will the jobs be created? Where will the spending be? Looking at the AI bills, frankly, and I think both of them are going to get bopped out at the federal level because they're against the Dormant Commerce Clause. This whole thing about we want to do everything to protect kids. What is the cost of doing that? Nobody seems to pay any attention. And the other thing, basically when you look at it is these are bills, when you talk about, economic development, these are broadly supported bills. And I'm not for quote unquote harming kids with social media. But what I wonder is, does anybody look at the fact that what will make Connecticut attractive for any kind of outside investment whatsoever? Stuff like this won't going to do it. This corporate tax is going to be a killer. And I've been saying that over and over and over again. You can't reduce the individual rate without reducing the corporate rate, without quote unquote. Oh yeah, here's another thing. The state budget has increased the funding for our should be abolished Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development. I mean, so we've got federal investigations. We still have money going out to nonprofits. We still don't have controls, basically, as to who gets what to whom. The salaries will continue to increase, and everything is going to be fine. They're going to break session. They're going to slap themselves in the back and say we saved humanity. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Now, if you really, really, really want to get aggravated, if I haven't aggravated you enough, there was an article in the, I believe it was the Republican American. I've chased this down. HB 5532. It's an ethics bill. There is every single person in government. This is sitting in the Senate, from what I understand. Every single person in government gets 2 free sporting event tickets, and they all voted for it. I mean, I had somebody yesterday who was livid, and he said, do you realize, Tony, this is a slap in the face to every single citizen. What's the big deal about a ticket? Well, the fact of the matter is somebody wants to go to a game. They can't afford it, but, hey, legislature gets a freebie.
Right.
That is the perception. And I guess I can end all that with saying this. Why do they think that the perception of them is going to change when they're doing stuff like this? And that's all I have for today.
That's great stuff, Tony. As always, Tony D'Angelo, this is just a small sliver of what you get when you watch him on his YouTube page, certainly on Thursdays, and again on the Talk Red. Tony, thank you, buddy. I'll talk to you next week, but always appreciate you.
Thank you, pal. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
You got it, Tony D. There he is. We'll take a short break. We'll come right back just a couple minutes. Bruce Fox will join us right around the corner. Liz, Devin Carney, all coming up. Stick around.